I found out I have a serious sickness called leukemia, and the doctors say I need to stay in the hospital for a long time to get better. But when I told my family, they turned their backs on me, saying I deserved it. That's when it hit me. They don't really care about me. When I said I wanted to stop being part of their lives, they were happy about it, but they haven't realized yet how much they rely on me. My name is Sally, and I'm a stay-at-home mom in my 40s. My husband Michael and I have been married for almost 50 years. We have a daughter named Mia who just started middle school. Right now, I live with Michael, Mia, and my mother-in-law. Michael's mom raised him by herself after her divorce when he was young. Maybe she spoiled him too much because he's pretty selfish. Living with my mother-in-law made me see a side of my husband I hadn't noticed before we got married. When my husband found out I was going to have a baby, he was really happy. He couldn't believe it at first, but then he thanked me and said we would face any challenges together. I promised to do my best. But that joy didn't last long. When we found out we were having a girl during a checkup, my mother-in-law said something really hurtful to me. She said, "You never cook meat, do you?" I tried to explain that I cook a balanced diet, but she wouldn't listen. She even said that maybe the reason the baby was a girl was because I didn't eat meat. I was shocked and hurt. She kept saying we only needed boys and that having a granddaughter was the worst thing. She even called me useless. I tried to tell myself that as long as the baby was healthy, it shouldn't matter if it was a boy or a girl. But as time went on, my hopes were crushed. My husband started acting distant too, maybe because he was listening to my mother-in-law. He began treating me differently, and it hurt. "Michael, do you want to go shopping for baby stuff when you're off next?" "Do I have to? It's our baby, right?" "I want us to pick things out together." "Fine, but let's stick to the basics. Babies cost a lot, and we need to save." "Then buy what you want with your own money." I had minimal income during maternity leave. I have to save for our child's future and cover clinic bills and baby expenses. I had to go along with what Michael and my mother-in-law said and only get the necessary baby stuff. I worried they wouldn't love our daughter when she arrived. But after Mia was born, Michael and my mother-in-law adored her. They loved her even more than I expected, so I stopped worrying. I planned to focus on parenting for a while. But when Mia turned 2, Michael told me to go back to work. I thought it would be okay since my mother-in-law loved Mia too. But when I returned to work, both my mother-in-law and Michael showered even more love on Mia. Michael started spoiling her, just like my mother-in-law had spoiled him. I tried to teach Mia right from wrong with love, but it seemed she didn't see it that way. Before I knew it, Mia didn't like me and preferred to be with my husband and mother-in-law. "Hey Mia, it's time for kindergarten. Let's go together." "I don't want to go with Mommy. I want Grandma." "Mia, Mommy has to work too. Let's go to kindergarten together, okay?" "I hate Mommy. I love Daddy and Grandma." "Mia, please don't say that." "No, Mommy, just go away." Mia's words were really hurting my feelings. My mental health was suffering because of it. But my husband and mother-in-law didn't try to stop her. Instead, they looked at me like I deserved it. These tough times continued for about 10 years. Even in middle school, Mia hasn't changed. She avoids me and sticks to my husband and mother-in-law, and because of that, she's become uncontrollable. She screams and breaks things when she doesn't get her way. When I try to discipline her, she yells back at me. "Mia, can we talk? Did you take money from my wallet?" "Yeah." "So what? You're my mom. You can give me money, right?" "Taking without asking is wrong. Please give it back." "No way. It's your fault for not getting me the Gucci wallet. I want it for my birthday. You're only in middle school. You don't need expensive things yet. I can get them when you're older." "I want it now. Why don't you understand, you old hack?" "Mia, don't talk like that." "You're so annoying, Grandma. Mom is being mean to me." When I scold her, Mia turns to my mother-in-law for help. And my mother-in-law sides with her, blaming me too. "What's wrong, Mia? Did Mom upset you again?" "Listen, Grandma, she won't get me the Gucci wallet for my birthday. And she won't give me money either. Can you believe it? That's not fair. Your mom is being stingy. Grandma will get you the wallet next time, okay?" "Yay, thank you, Grandma." "You're welcome." "I love you, Grandma." Mia happily hugged my mother-in-law. Branded stuff is too much for her age, I thought. I disagreed with my mother-in-law. "Wait, Mom, Mia is still in middle school. Shouldn't we hold off on buying her expensive things?" I suggested. "But maybe not yet. You're so stingy. I feel sorry for Mia having you as her mom, my mother-in-law snapped back. Every day, my mother-in-law spoiled Mia, buying her whatever she wanted. My husband did the same, filling our house with expensive stuff Mia barely used. Besides Mia's issues, there was another problem in our house. My mother-in-law's spending. I noticed she kept buying strange rings and bracelets. When I asked, she said a friend recommended them, but I suspected it was an MLM scheme. I wondered where she got the money since she was always buying things for Mia. Turns out, she was borrowing from banks. When I confronted her, she brushed it off, saying it wasn't my concern. I grew to hate dealing with family problems, so I threw myself into work, often working late. My husband and mother-in-law criticized me, but I didn't care. I just didn't want to be home. Then one day, I collapsed at work. Tests revealed I had leukemia, likely brought on by stress. I needed long-term treatment, so I was hospitalized. I called my mother-in-law from a hospital. I'm sorry to bother you, but I collapsed at work. I've been diagnosed with leukemia, and I need to stay in the hospital. You have leukemia? I hoped she'd be at least a little concerned about my illness. But that hope quickly faded. It's a good thing you finally got seriously sick. I was shocked by my mother-in-law's response. What? What are you saying? I asked. I've been annoyed with you every day. This serves you right, she said callously. That's a horrible thing to say. Hold on, let me talk to Mia. I asked to speak to Mia and my mother-in-law handed her the phone. What? Mia's response was something I never expected. Mom, are you sick? She asked. I'm sorry, Mia. I have to stay in the hospital for a while, I explained. Mia's reply crushed me even more. I'm actually glad. It's better without you bothering us. You're always mean to me. That's why you got sick. You deserve it. Are you serious right now? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. That's incredibly cruel. Everyone would be happier if I stayed sick. I have to tell Dad about this, I said to Mia before she hung up the phone. In that moment, I felt like giving up on my family. I had reached my breaking point. I decided I would be the one to cut ties with them. Mia was my daughter, but I endured so much pain to bring her into this world. I had hoped to raise her to be a good person, but her behavior was a combination of her innate personality and how my husband and mother-in-law raised her. Some might find it unthinkable for a parent to walk away from their child, but despite our blood connection, I couldn't forgive their behavior any longer. I called my parents and asked them to bring clothes because neither my husband, mother-in-law, nor Mia had visited me during my hospital stay. Months later, after successful treatment and full recovery, instead of returning to the house I shared with my husband, I returned to my parents' house and sought advice from a lawyer about getting a divorce. My mother-in-law and Mia agreed right away. Michael was hesitant at first, concerned about public perception, but eventually agreed under pressure from my mother-in-law and Mia. Since he cooperated, I was able to get a divorce and claim compensation. About 7 years passed. I moved out of my parents' house and lived near my workplace, healthy and energetic. Then, out of nowhere, I got a call from Michael. His voice sounded exhausted, and he quickly jumped into his problem. Hello, Sally, can you come back? What? Why all of a sudden? Things are tough for me right now. What do you mean? My mother, she's in a huge amount of debt. Michael had just found out about my mother-in-law's debt and reached out to me for help. The debt, which had been ignored for so long, had grown to a significant sum, and my mother-in-law could no longer keep it hidden from Michael. To my ex-husband's anxious plea, I replied calmly, "You're only noticing now. She's been in debt since I was there, from way back. It seems she got caught up in an MLM scheme. All the money she spent on spoiling Mia was borrowed from banks. I can't believe it. I had no clue. I tried to warn your mother several times, and I even tried talking to you about it. But every time, you just brushed it off. But not telling me about the debt is terrible, isn't it? If I had known earlier." "Don't say that now. After all, I was in the hospital. And none of you even visited me once, remember? I'm sorry for that. Just help me out this once." "What are you talking about?" I snapped, losing my patience. My emotions boiled over, and I found myself shouting at Michael. "Do you think you can just apologize and everything will be okay? When I was sick and needed help, you abandoned me. I regret ever marrying you." My anger subsided, replaced by a sense of release. I had finally let out everything I'd been holding in. You should end up in debt like your mother and suffer for once. Please calm down. I'll apologize. Shut up. It's disgusting to start relying on your divorced ex-wife now. In the background, I could hear Mia's voice. Then she took over the phone, sounding sad. Mom, Grandma's in trouble because of her debts. Please help us. It's not my problem. Don't ask me for help. Mia didn't give up, despite my quiet refusal. Dad's struggling to repay Grandma's debts. I might not be able to afford college tuition and might have to drop out. Is that okay? So, Mom, why are you acting like this is someone else's problem? Your own daughter is in trouble. Daughter? Who? Mia's words made me chuckle. Just as she faced trouble, she emphasized she was my daughter, even though she never called herself that before. What's so funny? Michael asked. I was just thinking about how you suddenly claim to be my daughter when you're in trouble, after calling me names all this time. That's not fair. I'm your biological daughter who's in trouble, you know. But I don't have a daughter. What? No, Mom. I made that decision 7 years ago when I was hospitalized. I don't need a family like you anymore. We're divorced, so we're just strangers now, okay? Mom, please don't say that. Stop. Don't call me Mom because I'm not your mother. You should live happily with your father and grandmother who's in debt. Don't ever contact me again. You're just a burden in my life. With that, I ended the call and blocked their numbers to ensure they couldn't reach me again. After that, I heard that my ex-husband and mother-in-law were working tirelessly to repay their debts. They sold everything they owned, but it wasn't enough. They were struggling to make ends meet and even struggled to eat properly. My daughter couldn't afford her tuition and had to drop out of college. The expensive items she had were sold to pay off debts, leaving her with nothing. It seems even she is working to repay her grandmother's debts. It's heartbreaking to see my daughter facing such hardships compared to her peers. They really are foolish and helpless. They brought this upon themselves. As for me, I've purchased an apartment close to my workplace. I intend to invite my parents and live peacefully as a family of 3. From now on, I want to cherish each day with my true family and live happily.